Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Ready for another round of tech, crypto, and finance? We're diving into Paralogic.com's top stories from December 10th through the 12th.
Think of this as your express lane through a whole stack of fascinating articles.
Exactly. We'll give you the need-to-know info in about 10 minutes. A quick heads up, though. This isn't financial advice.
Always a good reminder. Do your own research before making any decisions based on what we discuss.
Absolutely. And if you like these deep dives, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's jump right into it. The tech world is buzzing, especially with all the AI developments. We've got Apple being their usual secretive selves, ChatGPT having a bit of a meltdown, and some unsettling news on the spyware front.
Yeah, it seems everyone's trying to figure out their AI game plan these days. Apple just dropped updates for both iOS and macOS, versions 18.2 and 15.2. They're calling them enhanced AI features.
It's enhanced? What does that even mean?
Right. Typical Apple, keeping things vague. We don't have specifics yet, but it definitely makes you wonder what they're cooking up, especially with their focus on user privacy.
I mean, could they be leaning towards more on-device AI processing? To keep your data off the cloud?
It's definitely a possibility. That would be a huge selling point for Apple, especially for those who are wary of big tech having all their data.
For sure. And it could mean they're developing AI features that are, totally integrated with their hardware, making everything smoother and faster. But while Apple's being all mysterious, ChatGPT decided to make a very public stumble. They had a major outage this week.
Yeah, and the rumor mill's churning. Some are saying it might be connected to that recent integration with Apple's Siri. It's kind of a wake-up call for both OpenAI, the brains behind ChatGPT, and for Meta, who's also all in on AI. Keeping these super complex platforms up and running is proving to be a real challenge.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
200 million ChatGPT users. All of a sudden, they can't access their go-to AI tool.
Right.
Workflow nightmare.
Totally. This whole thing just highlights the struggle of keeping these AI platforms stable as they get bigger and bigger. If we want AI to be a reliable part of our lives...
Reliability is key.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to something a little less glitchy, but way more creepy spyware. Verify, a mobile security company, has launched a new feature specifically for detecting Pegasus spyware.
Pegasus? Isn't that the stuff that can basically turn your phone into a listening device?
Exactly. It's pretty terrifying. It can access pretty much everything: messages, calls, even your camera and microphone. The fact that a company is putting resources into detecting it shows how big of a threat mobile security is becoming.
It's like something out of a spy movie, honestly. So how can the average person even protect themselves from something that sophisticated?
Well, the first step is awareness. Knowing these threats exist is huge. And then basic things like keeping your phone's software updated, being careful about what links you click, and avoiding downloads from shady sources can really help.
Good tips. Now, for some slightly more optimistic news, Theta Labs is using decentralized cloud computing to make AI more accessible.
This is actually super interesting because the biggest roadblock in AI development right now is access to computing power. Theta Labs' decentralized approach could change that, giving smaller developers and researchers the resources they need to really make breakthroughs.
So instead of relying on big cloud providers like Amazon or Google, they're spreading the workload across a network of computers.
Exactly, kind of like blockchain, but for processing power instead of financial transactions.
So theoretically, anyone could lend their unused computer power to this network and get rewarded for it.
Right. It makes the whole system more democratic and less reliant on a few big players. This could seriously shake things up in AI, encouraging more innovation and competition.
All right, buckle up. We're heading into the world of cryptocurrency, where, as always, things are wild. Security breaches, controversial Bitcoin proposals, meme coin mania, and a whole new breed of scams. We've got it all.
Never a dull moment in crypto land, right? Let's start with Solana, one of the big blockchain platforms. They recently had a security breach where malicious code was found in one of their libraries. Yeah, not good. It resulted in about $155,000 worth of cryptocurrency being stolen.
It's a harsh reminder that even in the world of decentralized systems, security audits are absolutely crucial.
Couldn't agree more. Speaking of vulnerabilities, the meme coin Dogecoin also had a major hiccup. A ton of its nodes crashed, which revealed a pretty serious security flaw in the network.
For those who don't speak crypto, nodes are basically the computers that help keep the blockchain running and secure. So a mass crash like that is a pretty big red flag.
Definitely. It raises questions about how stable and resilient the Dogecoin network really is. It goes to show that even though meme coins might start as a joke, they can become serious business, attracting real money and needing serious security.
Now, for some completely different perspectives on Bitcoin, we've got Andrew Sorrell, the state auditor of Alabama, suggesting they create a Bitcoin reserve for the state. He thinks it could help their economy and protect them against financial instability.
It's a pretty bold idea, right? And it definitely challenges traditional financial thinking. But it shows how some people are starting to see Bitcoin as a safe haven, especially with its limited supply and decentralized nature.
But on the flip side, we've got Microsoft shareholders voting against adding Bitcoin to the company's reserves. So clearly, not everyone's on board.
It shows how cautious big corporations are being about cryptocurrency.
It seems like the debate about Bitcoin's place in the global financial system is far from over.
Yeah, both sides have valid points. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Speaking of playing out, there's a new type of scam on the rise that's targeting crypto investors. Hackers are using fake Telegram verification bots to steal millions.
Fake verification bots, how does that even work?
These scammers are pretty clever. They pretend to be crypto influencers on X, which used to be Twitter. They lure people into Telegram groups and then hit them with these fake bots that steal their private keys.
And private keys are like the passwords to your crypto wallet.
Exactly. Once they have your private keys, they can clean you out.
So even in the supposedly anonymous world of crypto, good old-fashioned scams are still a problem.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder to always be skeptical, double-check everything, and never, ever share your private keys with anyone. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. So we've covered AI advancements, security nightmares, the Bitcoin tug-of-war, and the ever-present threat of scams.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Let's shift gears a bit now. We've talked about crypto getting stolen, but what about when the authorities are the ones taking it?
Oh yeah, seized cryptocurrency. It sounds like something out of a movie, honestly.
It's becoming more and more common, though. Paralogic.com actually did a whole podcast episode on it.
I saw that one.
It really highlighted just how different seizing crypto is compared to, seizing physical assets. Like, imagine trying to seize a house versus seizing a digital wallet.
Totally different, right?
Completely. And once they track down the crypto, actually getting access to those digital wallets can be a whole other challenge.
You mentioned different types of wallets, like hot wallets and cold wallets before. What's the difference?
So a hot wallet is connected to the internet, which makes it easy to use, but also easy to hack. A cold wallet, though, is offline. It's like a digital safe, much more secure.
But way harder to break into, I bet.
Exactly, even for law enforcement. And then once they've seized the cryptocurrency, they have to figure out how to secure it.
I mean, it's not like they can just deposit it in a bank, right?
Right. They typically use something called a multi-signature wallet. It's kind of like having multiple locks on a safe.
Multiple locks.
Yeah. With a multi-signature wallet, you need multiple people to approve any transaction. It keeps things secure and transparent. Then there's a legal process, too. It's called forfeiture, where ownership officially gets transferred to the government.
So the government basically becomes the new owner of the crypto.
Yeah, and after that, they often auction it off.
Like a digital auction.
Exactly. Bidders can try to snag a piece of the seized crypto. It's often the U.S. Marshal Service that handles these big auctions.
I think I remember reading about them auctioning off that huge stash of Bitcoin from the Silk Road marketplace years ago.
Yeah, that was a big one, like 144,000 Bitcoin.
Wow. I bet the value of those seized assets can change a lot depending on, the whole crypto market roller coaster.
Oh, absolutely. The sale price depends on the market at the time of the auction.
Yeah.
So if Bitcoin's price is skyrocketing, the government could make a huge profit. But if the market crashes,
Not so much.
not so much.
So where does all that money from the auctions go?
It depends, honestly. Sometimes it goes to government programs, sometimes to victims, and sometimes to general funds. It really varies depending on the case and where it happened.
It sounds like a whole new world of legal and financial complexities.
It definitely is, and it's only going to get more complicated as crypto becomes more and more common. We were talking earlier about those scammers using those Telegram bots to steal crypto. The Paralogic.com episode actually talked about how blockchain analysis is being used to fight back against that kind of stuff.
Blockchain analysis.
Yeah, it's becoming super important for law enforcement. Basically, it lets investigators follow transactions on the blockchain, even if they were supposed to be anonymous.
So it's like a digital trail of breadcrumbs.
Exactly. And it's helped them solve some pretty big cases. Like, remember the Bitfinex hack back in 2016? They stole something like 120,000 Bitcoin.
I vaguely remember that.
Well, they actually managed to recover a good chunk of that stolen Bitcoin years later, all thanks to blockchain analysis.
That's amazing. So even in the world of decentralized crypto, there's still a way to track things down. But I guess that raises some ethical questions too, right? I mean, crypto is supposed to be about freedom from government control.
Yeah, there's definitely a tension there. As crypto grows, the debate about balancing law enforcement and individual privacy is only going to get more intense. Okay, so we've talked a lot about Bitcoin. Let's switch gears again. What about stablecoins? Circle, the company behind the USDC stablecoin, has partnered up with Binance, one of the biggest crypto exchanges.
What are they trying to do?
They're saying it's to boost global stablecoin innovation.
Stablecoins, those are the ones that are pegged to a fiat currency, right? Like the US dollar.
Yep. They're designed to hold a stable value. The idea is that this makes them more practical for everyday use and could help crypto get more mainstream adoption.
Like a bridge between traditional finance and the crypto world. But I'm guessing there are some regulatory hurdles they'll have to jump over.
Oh, for sure. The U.S. Financial Services Oversight Council, the FSOC, has already voiced some concerns about the risks of stablecoins and has basically said they need to figure out regulations and fast.
So, another debate brewing. It seems like governments are trying to figure out how to reap the benefits of stablecoins without, risking the whole financial system.
It's a tough balance. Speaking of financial systems, we can't wrap up without talking about Ray Dalio's warning about a global debt crisis.
Oh yeah, the billionaire investor guy.
Yep. He's been pretty critical of traditional finance for a while now, but his latest warning is getting a lot of attention.
What's he say?
He basically thinks we're on the edge of a major economic downturn. Rising debt, inflation, all the geopolitical stuff going on. He thinks it's a recipe for disaster. He's telling investors to diversify, diversify, diversify.
So what's his advice?
Well, he's been recommending Bitcoin and gold as safe havens. He sees them as ways to protect yourself if traditional financial systems start to crumble.
It's kind of wild that he's recommending Bitcoin now, given that he used to be pretty skeptical of it.
It goes to show that even the smartest people can change their minds when they see how things are playing out. It's a reminder to stay flexible, keep learning, and adapt as the world changes. Okay, so we've covered seized crypto, stablecoin drama, and the possibility of a global debt meltdown. What else have we got from Paralogic.com?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see how different people are reacting to Bitcoin. You've got Andrew Sorrell in Alabama saying they should create a state Bitcoin reserve. And then you've got Microsoft shareholders saying absolutely not. It really shows how much debate there still is about Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's like two completely different worlds colliding.
Yeah.
Sorrell seems to think that Bitcoin could be a real game changer for Alabama, like it could help their economy, make things more stable, maybe even attract more tech companies to the state.
Yeah, I get that he's thinking outside the box, but it is a pretty big gamble, right?
Totally. But I think he's banking on Bitcoin being a safe haven, especially with all the craziness happening in the global economy right now.
Makes sense. But then you have these big corporations like Microsoft, and they're like super hesitant.
Yeah, they're definitely taking a much more cautious approach. I think they're worried about regulations, security risks, and, that whole thing about Bitcoin's price being all over the place.
Yeah, that volatility is definitely a major concern for a lot of people. So what do you think it'll take for more companies to really get on board with Bitcoin and crypto in general?
That's a good question. Probably a mix of things, honestly. We need clearer regulations for sure, and the price swings have got to calm down a bit. And, of course, we need better security measures to prevent those hacks and scams.
Yeah, all those things would definitely make crypto seem a lot less risky.
It's interesting, though, because even with all that uncertainty, we're still seeing all this innovation in the crypto world.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at the stories we've been talking about from Paralogic.com. Stablecoins, seized crypto, decentralized AI. It's mind-blowing how quickly things are changing. It really feels like we're living in the future sometimes. But like you said earlier, staying informed is key. We got to keep learning and adapting as the tech and finance worlds evolve.
Couldn't agree more. All right, so that wraps up our deep dive into the latest from Paralogic.com. We covered a lot today, from AI getting smarter and spyware getting creepier to the whole roller coaster of the crypto world.
It's always a wild ride, that's for sure.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future episodes. And remember, folks, always do your own research before making any financial moves based on what you've heard here.
Until next time, happy diving.